What is up, my loves? It's your girl Diamond. I am back with an all-new review for the Real Housewives of Atlanta. We are here. We're made it to the end. It is the season finale. Thank God. This season has not given what was supposed to have gave, but let's get into it. So it starts off with Drew in the confessional, talking about how her and Ralph have been going through their marriage this past year. We thought they were going good, but there's been some inconsistencies. The producers are thinking we have not seen the real Drew and Ralph, and we have not, you know? And just looking at their pattern, how they tend to cover up their issues with doing things they like to do together, but it doesn't solve the problems that they have at hand. And January 2023 is where we're starting off. Little clips of everybody. Sheree doing tummy time with her granddaughter at a bouncy house. Kenya doing Miss Brooklyn's hair with the Kenya Moore hair care. Candy and Todd doing a couple spa, talking about how they finished the movie. They have to edit and plan the wrap party. Todd don't want no more than 100 people. Sonya is headed to Dr. Jackie's office to hear the baby's heartbeat. Marlo is there for support because Ross couldn't be there. She's so happy that Marlo is there for her. Marlo has been her ride or die. She even referred to Marlo as her side chick. No, sidekick, sorry. Sonya putting way too much of Marlo being there for you in a short period of time, and I wouldn't trust Marlo with everything that you're doing because I feel like she's going to disappoint you in the end, but fine. She wanted Marlo to record the heartbeat so she can show it to Rao, and Sonya is trying to engage into having a second child by making sure that she doesn't show favoritism to her son like her parents did her. They put everything on Sonya. They made Sonya the star, leaving her sister in the background, and she doesn't want to create the same mistake. She wants both of her children to feel special and loved, no matter if one's the firstborn, one's the secondborn. They're both her children. I'm not mad at that. So her ultrasound, she's 5 weeks and 5 days. She's like, what you mean? I was 5 weeks last week. Well, you're now 5 days away from 6 weeks, okay? And she's trying to push along how far she actually is because Deuce is wondering when he's going to see his little sister. Dr. Jackie is trying to explain to her that you might not want to tell him everything, especially how far along your pregnancy, because we have to be careful. And I know that he's small, so you have to be sure that you're not telling him everything. I understand she telling him everything. She wants to be open, but your son is small. So you might want to protect his feelings by not telling him everything until you reach a further point in your pregnancy for you to start talking to him about it, okay? So, come back at 12 weeks. And then we'll also do a blood test at 10 weeks to discover if it's a boy or a girl. Moving on. Drew, I'm already annoyed. Get Ralph off my screen. Drew is tired. She's in the bed. She's been working. Ralph came in and she's just like, oh my God, I've been working so much. And Ralph is talking about how much he's been working, how hard he's been grinding because you've been doing your little movie. Like he's really being passive aggressive and coming down on how much work it takes to film a movie. And she's like, do you know how much work goes into doing a movie? He said, you're not doing nothing but filming sex scenes. I said, wow. Wow, Ralph. Really coming down on your wife's career as an actress as if it doesn't take a lot of work to produce a film. It doesn't take a lot of work to remember a whole line of words, scripts, locations, and everything. Like, wow. Wow, you're really downplaying your wife's career as an actress. But at the same point in time, you probably have benefited from Drew's past roles and everything. Her attention and media presence from her being an actress, hence why she was picked to be a part of RHOA. Yeah, Ralph is extremely jealous of Drew. That's what I'm getting. And she was tired. She was tired. She came home late. She was only able to get 1 hour worth of sleep, but still woke up to get her son ready for school. Ralph said, I tried to help you. She said, how? You never got up and you went in the other room. So I feel like, how is it you're sleeping in another room, but yet you still did not think to step up and help your wife get your son ready for school when you know she only had an hour's worth of sleep? Asshole. And he has not moved back into the bedroom because he feels like it's so chaotic, it's so disruptive. I can't get enough sleep. You come home at 3 o'clock in the morning and I have to do this and I have to do that. It's just like, I don't understand. I'm confused. What hard work are you doing? I'm still hearing that Drew still does everything she has to do, and she was on the set. She was working. Yeah, she was gone for 10 days. She didn't drive anywhere. She didn't travel anywhere for work. She was probably, what, down the street, 10 minutes away. But she was on set all day, working odd hours. And she was still able to do her job as a mom. And you don't do shit. Ralph, shut the fuck up. So then Drew talks about Courtney, how Courtney clearly is a liar because we were calling her out for calling me a bitch, but she said she don't use that word. But the video that I caught, it sounded like she was referring to me as a bitch. And Drew was wanting a reaction from Ralph of hearing how we thought as a wife expressing to her husband how someone called her out her name. You would think he would come back with, man, baby, why she say that to you? I gotta talk to her. She can't call you a bitch like that. But no, he feels like, what do I have to say about that? It doesn't matter to me that she called you a bitch. I don't care that she called you a bitch. And he wants to use, Kenya has called her a bitch, Marlo has called her a bitch, but I feel like that's not the point. This is someone who just came into your life as a cousin, I'm using air quotes, and nothing was done to Courtney to call you a bitch. And instead of you understanding your wife's feelings, you want to feel like, why are you upset? It's not like that's not the first time you were called a bitch. Nigga! Oh my God, I'm sorry. Like, this isn't hard for you to understand. This really isn't hard. Like, are you kidding me right now? You're not taking your wife's feelings in consideration that Courtney, who was supposed to be your cousin, is calling your wife out of her name. And instead of you defending your wife, you are acting like, why are you asking me? She's like, are you for real? And it was like Drew said, it was like, fuck your feelings, for real. And it's like marriage 101. If you don't rock with somebody, I don't rock with somebody. And it's vice versa. If someone in your family did something to disrespect you, I'm not going to fool with that person. I'm not going to call him. I'm not going to say hi to him. I'm not going to do any of that because they disrespected you. So the fact that that same energy wasn't reciprocated was very, very telling. And it's the same thing that Drew has been feeling this entire time in her marriage. Ralph does not validate her feelings. Ralph does not listen to her feelings. He acts like everything that Drew says and does is like made up in La La Land. She's living in the land of milk and cookies. Nothing that she says, nothing that she feels are real. They don't make sense. So she walks off because it's like, this is like crazy. I figure my husband will defend me, will be there for me, but the moment I'm expressing how I'm feeling, it gets shut down. She walks off and she comes down the steps in the kitchen where Allison is. And she's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? She's like, I'm upset. I'm just so tired. I don't have the energy for this. So she informs Allison about what Courtney said. And Allison even said, yeah, I looked her straight in the face and I asked her, did you call my sister a bitch? She said, no, I don't even use that term. But obviously she lied. Ralph decided to say, no, Allison, stop. You've called you a bitch before. I was like, what? Are you serious? So Allison clocked it straight. She said, let me help you out. I don't care if she called her a banana. She don't like it. That's the whole point. That's how you start. You start off with, she's telling you she don't like it, and you give her the support. You give her the care to listen. Okay? And Ralph wanted to be messy. Ralph wanted to cause an issue between Drew and Allison because he wanted to absolve himself from the part that he's not playing, which is the part of a husband being there for his wife. So now he wants to ignite a problem. That's some bitch shit, okay? And then when Allison tried to check him, he said, I got this, Allison. I got this. No, you don't got it. If you got it, you wouldn't have brought Allison in and she wouldn't have checked you. That's what happened. And even if Allison and Drew had an argument, that's sisters. Sisters can go back and forth and they can get over it. But you defending your cousin who just got here, who I am guessing to be is more than just a cousin. She your kissing cousin. She your cousin lover. And that's not sitting with me. Okay? And this is the reason why Allison called Ralph manipulative and controlling when she was in the house, because she can see the way he gaslights her. He can see the way he flips situation, turns things around on her because he doesn't want to be accountable. Typical narcissist. In this moment, Drew walks off. She wanted to de-mic because she felt like, you just embarrassed me. Like, you really just embarrassed me. I felt like, Drew, you've been embarrassed this entire time you've been on the show. I don't know if this was the straw that broke the camel's back, but girl, she's like, and you know, I'm tired. Like, I don't have to deal with this. And Allison is telling Ralph, why do you do that? You see, she's up there crying. And I had such a good day, Ralph. I was positive. I was cool. And you just wanted to start some shit. And she ran upstairs to be with her sister. I'm just like, get Ralph off my screen. Moving on. Sheree is riding around with her oldest, talking about shrinking her fibroids again. What is she looking to eat? Her daughter is talking about getting some more sea moss, maybe trying acupuncture, and how acupuncture can relieve stress. Sheree says she don't stress. Just like when the bill collector calls, she said, you'll get it when I get it. I feel like how many times have you told that lie? They not gonna always be willing to just say, okay, well, wait, pay the people, Sheree. Pay the people. You are obviously spending money you don't actually have. Moving on. Then we're talking about the bomb that was dropped last week about Bob having an older daughter, even though Sheree only known of two, not three. And her daughter, her oldest daughter, apparently still has a close relationship with Bob. And they went to his mother's house for dinner, and she saw Candace there going along with what was discovered that all the kids have been around Candace. She's been introduced to them. They've been at events with her. Sheree really did not know. And I'm really stunned. I'm like, how do you not know this? I mean, she's not blaming her kids for finding this out and not telling her, because it's not her kid's responsibility to tell her about Bob having another daughter. That's Bob's responsibility. But especially the type of relationship that Bob and Sheree have had, and what's been exposed of how abusive the relationship Bob and Sheree had, I don't even see how any of his kids would want to be around him based off of what happened with Sheree. But I don't know who's telling the truth or not, but it's still fucked up though. You want to leave Sheree in the dark about not telling her you had another daughter but kept the kids around? Yeah, that's not cool. Moving on. Kenya is in the kitchen making breakfast for Brooklyn. Her father is there. They're making a better choice to develop a better relationship, especially how they had a rocky relationship a few years ago. And this is also a chance for Brooklyn to be more comfortable around her grandfather. She only met him 2 months ago. I think that was around the holidays. But of course, it's going to take some time for her to get comfortable around him because she doesn't really know him. Then we're talking about Kenya trying to expand her family, not trying to carry, trying to move forward with a surrogate. The daddy was against her carrying at all because she did almost lose her life after having Brooklyn. But a surrogate route, cool. She got the embryo. She hasn't told Mark yet. Mark really don't have anything to say about it because legally she has the rights to use the embryos however she wants to use them. And that's it. Marla really didn't pay much attention. She's at the Let eBay bin, and she's talking about doing styling for Tammy for the Unfaithful show Tammy's on, doing movies. Scott Lee's there. She's never shown anybody other than her friends, Michael and William. She's never had a man come inside her place of business. They're just moving forward. They're just getting to know one another. That's it. Drew and Ralph are going counseling with Dr. Ken. And the argument that they had wasn't even about Courtney. It was about Drew being able to express herself and express how some things have hurt her feelings, and that her husband is just writing them off, passing them off, being very disrespectful to her because he doesn't give a fuck. Ralph does not care. Ralph obviously don't like Drew, but he has to still stay in a friendly space because he wants to still benefit off of what Drew can offer him. Like I said in my other reviews, he wanted to still be tied to her when he's done with her, be tied to her musically. That's why he was on the cover of her song, be tied to her for her video shoot, wanted to be the leading man. Like he wants to be connected to her in that way, but not romantically. And Ralph quit counseling. We heard from the beginning of the season. She kept going, but she needs to get to the bottom of the pattern. They keep going around in circles. They've always gone to counseling to fix their problems, but their problems are never fixed. And Ralph was talking about something, and then he said he made a lot of changes. What changes did he make to make this relationship better? He said he moved out the bedroom. That's supposed to be a good thing, Ralph? That's not a good thing. Drew can tell that he's acting very differently because he's not in the same room with her. He said he's liberated, he's free, he's able to get some sleep in. But then he just kept on talking and talking and talking. And talked about how the temperature in the bedroom was higher. He didn't like it high. He wanted it low. It's just words that didn't make any sense. Just talking. Okay? And she feel like it's very disconnected, and it's very irresponsible for him to just leave the bedroom without explaining why he has to leave the bedroom. And the kids have noticed. Here he go, want to call her out to be a liar. Why am I lying? JoJo texted me. It shows a clip of the text message that her son sent to her. That daddy is sleeping in the guest room, don't know why, and his other two siblings are upset because he didn't even allow for them to sleep in the same room with him. So the fact that your kids are noticing how short you are with them, how you left the bedroom, and you want to say she's a liar, kids are very perceptive. Kids can pick up energies. Kids can pick up when things are wrong. And the fact you wouldn't even allow your other children to sleep with you says a lot. It probably says you don't even do half the things you say you do when it comes to handling the household, because you make it seem as if you don't know what the fuck to do when Drew is not there to handle everything, and everything is just riding on your shoulders to do, but it doesn't seem like you're doing anything at this point. So the fact that you want to say she's lying, you want to find inconsistencies of that's not what she's saying this, she's saying that. She clearly repeated what she just read. She sent the text to her son that daddy's sleeping in the other room because mommy has been working late, and you know daddy works in the morning. Once the movie is done, he'll be back in the room. It's okay. It's all going to be good. That's exactly what she said. But since you like to hear what you like to hear, you want to place it as if it's meaning like this and it's supposed to be like this. No. You're a liar just like she is, and you don't like to admit when things make you look bad, and you try to make it out to be her. That's all I'm hearing. Okay? I'm back to how I'm saying, like, he is just talking and talking and talking. And how he wants to smell the roses, enjoy the fruits of his labor, don't know what that means. It's giving, I wish I wasn't married. It's giving, I wish I never had any kids. And, you know, as far as him sleeping in the separate bedroom, what is the purpose of sleeping in a separate bedroom? He discussed that people sleep in separate bedrooms all the time, and it's worked great. She has a best friend, and her husband sleeps in separate bedrooms, and they're all doing good. It's all for the better. And she also added, and they filed for divorce. Who hasn't filed for divorce? Throw the whole man away. You know what, Drew? The fact that he can sit here and joke and say who hasn't filed after you can already know and admit that he's very happy by moving out of the bedroom, rather be by himself than to sleep with you. It's everything all right in front of your face. The signs are there. Stop ignoring the signs, okay? So for Dr. Ken to say, I can sense the disconnect, I can also sense two people who really love each other. I'm like, Dr. Ken, what do you sense? Just for you to say nice big words so you can get your check? Because there's no love here. Okay? Because I feel like, and I think I said it earlier in my video, Ralph does not like Drew. Ralph cannot stand Drew because Ralph is also jealous of Drew. Ralph is intimidated by Drew. So in order for him to prey on what she's insecure about, that's going to make him look better. That's going to make him be better than her. But it's just pure exhaustion on Drew's face that she's fighting for this marriage by herself with a husband, with a man that never did want to be with her in the first place. He only wanted to be with her for the sake of how it would look good to him, how long he'll go if he was to keep her on his arm. He sees the benefits, but he doesn't want to work to keep it. He just wants to tear her down and reap the benefits after that. I ain't got time. Moving on. It is the night of the wrap-up party for the new movie. They were going over the guest list, and it reached up to 200 people RSVPing. Remember, Todd only wanted 100 people. Drew and Ralph showed up. Their energy is always on some pretense mess because they're all laughing, looking at the stars, walking up to the venue. And it's like, this is what we can't stand. We see how much disconnect. We see the cracks in their relationship in other scenes, but they always put on the charm. They put on this energy of we're so in love, we're that couple, and it's kind of like y'all can just miss me with that. Don Juan was even surprised that Ralph would even be there because Ralph does not show up for Drew, but this is something that Drew has paid attention, that Ralph will show up to pretend he is the perfect husband. He's that support system for other people to look at him in that way. But he'll never show up when it's just for her. Just like how he couldn't even defend his wife against Courtney calling her a bitch. Like, you should defend me at all times. Even defend me when you know I'm wrong, but don't make it seem as if every time I'm wrong that the way I'm feeling is something that I'm making up in my mind and that you have no reason to defend me. That's not how this works. So she don't get how he can show up like this for other people, but he can't show up like this for her. Yeah, he's giving you what everybody else want to see because he wants the approval, he wants the attention from other people, but don't give a damn if it comes from you. So everyone is arriving. Cynthia came. We thought Cynthia came with her man. No, that was her hairstylist. And Courtney, don't know why Courtney's here. They're all talking about Drew did her thing in the movie. And Drew also will be performing her new song, You Already Know, after the trailer will premiere. And while she was coming out to greet everybody, in her section, we see her sister, her assistant, and we see Ty Young. Ty Young was backstage. I'm like, wait a minute. What's that about? Backstage is where your important people are there for you. Your team, your assistant, everything. But you had Ty in the backstage. What type of special privilege did she get a chance to go backstage, Drew? Let me know. Then, of course, since the role of the character that she's playing will be in a relationship or in an illicit affair with another woman, it's kind of like she was able to play the hell out of this role, but was going back and forth denying that she ever kissed Latoya, even though we know you did. Latoya admitted it, and I didn't like the way you wanted to spin it. So that way it's Candy imagining, fantasizing about wanting to see you kiss her. And you're trying to correlate that this role you were asked to be on ties into what happened with you and Latoya. The movie hug Courtney. Courtney spotted Allison, and when she wanted to hug Allison, Allison curved her and said, no, that's not what time we on. No, because I don't do fake. Unless you're done being fake, there's no conversation. Because I feel like Allison had a point to check Courtney about when I asked you, did you call my sister a bitch? You looked me straight in my face and said, you never did, and you don't even use that term towards women. I come to find out that's a bold-faced lie. You did. Now, Courtney in this moment, she had no choice but to admit that she called Drew a bitch. Because while going back and forth with Allison, she felt like there's no need for me to be explaining this to you. Oh, it does. Because you call my sister a bitch for no reason. And this is supposed to be family, right? You, Ralph, are family, and she is connected to him in a marriage, which makes her family too. So why would you call his wife a bitch and then you lied, say you never did? Courtney is trying to deflect, trying to hop out the situation because she didn't like that she got caught. Drew wanted to come in to get an understanding as well. Courtney was kind of like, yeah, I did reference that bitch. Okay, who'd you reference that bitch to? I referenced that bitch to you, Drew, to you. Which makes Drew looking like, so you did call me a bitch. Yeah, I did. I admit that. No, you didn't, Courtney. We got footage from previous episodes that you don't use that word and you never called Drew a bitch. Looking at the video footage, it still don't make any sense why she would call Sonya a bitch. But we all know you were talking about Drew because everybody was talking about Drew and was trying to manipulate you into seeing Drew in a different light, in a different way, and you fell for it. Because you were trying so hard to fit in with Marlo, Sheree, and Sonya's clique so bad that you decided to flip on Drew when she didn't even deserve to be flipped on by you because she didn't do nothing to you. And, you know, I didn't like the way that Courtney was like, I don't have time for this. I'm just going to admit this to get Drew to shut up. Like, she's really trying to make it seem as if Drew is dragging this on. And it's kind of like, Courtney, you dragged on smaller shit this past season. You dragged on Kenny not knowing you. You dragged on Kenya not getting to know you. You called her a mean girl. And when she told you her boundaries of not touching her, you kept dragging it on. And when she failed, you said that was her karma. So as far as you making it seem as if Drew is someone who's always looking for issues, she's always picking up things that are so small, insignificant, don't make sense. She's making up things. She's deranged. She's confused. Girl, that's you. That is you. Okay? Stop. You're trying to spin the same narrative that Ralph is trying to do, that Drew does not have a reason to be upset. She never has a reason to call out things that doesn't make any sense. And she doesn't have a reason to feel away. And I don't like it. I don't. And while she was going back and forth, Courtney decided to throw it in Allison's face that, didn't I hear you call Drew a bitch too? And she said no. And the only reason why you're asking me about that is because you spoke to Ralph. And that's all you need to, that's all I need to know. And I was with Allison. I said, see, Courtney, you trying so hard to defend Ralph and you're looking like a fucking fool in the process. Why would Ralph tell you that Allison called you a bitch? And what makes you think you had the ability to go throw that in Allison's face? And Allison, who has peeped Ralph's intentions from the beginning, she clocked you right then and there. The only reason why you would know that's because Ralph told you. Ralph and Courtney have been pillow talking, and I literally mean pillow talking. The interviews that she's done, she was just on Kenny Speak on it, and she spoke way too much on Ralph's behalf, in my opinion. Just trying to make it seem as if Ralph is this innocent victim. He was pulled in on something he should never been pulled into. Making it as if Drew has been tearing him down this entire time. And for the nerve of her to say she's been a better friend to Ralph in 6 months than Drew has been a wife to him for the last 9 years, it's giving pick me. It's giving I'm the side chick and I'm waiting to be the main chick, and my time has been winding down. I'm so ready to be out here loud and proud with the man of my dreams. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting that from Courtney. I really am. Because you're literally and deliberately being mind fucked by Ralph for some reason. Okay? Moving on from that, because Courtney got on my damn nerves. Marlo came, she snubbed Kenya after Kenya said hello. I hated Sheree's wig. They showed the trailer. The trailer for the movie is extremely spicy. And I actually watched the movie. The movie was very good. The plot twist in the end was everything. Todd, you did an amazing job. You picked an amazing cast. Drew, you did your thing as well. And I gotta say, Drew, the storyline, the plot for this movie, it was coincidentally mirroring your relationship. It had points where it mirrored what you were going through with Ralph. It really did. All in all, great movie. Drew performed one of her songs. You already know. I did look on Drew's Instagram. She's about to drop another song, I think next week, called Throw Us Away, which is talking about Ralph. I can't wait for her. I can't wait to hear it. And that was pretty much the outcome of the season. I enjoyed the song. Drew's performance was great. And then we look at everybody else's in the finale time cards. You know, Candy was at the 2023 Tony Awards. She did not win, but she was nominated. She is still pushing for her EGOT. She and Todd are revising The Wiz, the musical, and The Past will stream exclusively on TikTok. Congratulations. Sheree is trying to now clean up. Now, she's not dating Martell, that they have confirmed that they're just friends, sure. And she has successfully figured out a way to strengthen fibroids. Next, Marlo, her and Scott Lee are becoming closer. She's trying to figure out a way to expunge her record, and she's putting her focus on the foster care system. Kenya, they did Kenya so wrong this season. They have cut out so many scenes that Kenya could have used to put out more of what she had going on, other than her trying to figure out to expand her family by using the embryos with Mark. That got tired. That got because it showed a clip of her at her soft grand opening for her spa, but we never saw any development. Just the one time she was in the building, but we didn't see who she was going to design the building. We didn't see her pick out any colors. We didn't see her actually going inside and everything. All we saw was a 5-second clip of her walking in with Brooklyn. Everybody congratulating her and a picture. Y'all wrong for that. Extremely wrong for that. Production needs to be fired. And that was pretty much it, you know, just the development of the hair care, more of the Kenya Moore hair care legacy. Still trying to work through these embryos with Mark. Also, Mark wants to hold her in contempt, but that was because of Marlo banging on her door that scared Brooklyn. And that pretty much wraps season 15. I would say season 15 was okay. It has some good moments. It has some bad moments. It has some didn't need moments. And based off of what I saw in the trailer is showing more mess, showing more shade, showing more energy than the entire season. And I hate that y'all doing that. So we're now in March, I think. Because the end of season 15 wrapped at the end of January. And it resumed filming back in March. So the headlines are all over the place with Ralph and Drew's divorce. And then the information about the affair with Ty Young, Mimi Faust's ex. You know, Marlo was first in the scene, going over all the blogs, trying to find headlines, because she's trying to connect the dots as to who filed first, because Ralph and Drew have been playing the game of tit for tat to one-up each other, because that's what Drew said before. Her and Ralph have a inner competition that she didn't pay attention until later on. Hence, so why Ralph was trying to race Drew to the courthouse to say I filed for divorce first, but she also filed an hour before him. And she's on the phone with Sheree. They're discussing it, of course, being messy and shady. It's no surprise there. And everybody is just, sad over the news. Mostly they're sad for. There isn't a side to take here, but at the same time, we're not going to deny the way we've seen Ralph treats her, to still have some type of empathy for her. So moving on from that, pretty much while they resume filming, we're probably going to see the rundown of how their divorce played out on season 16. Sonya is at home. She is healing from a very traumatic miscarriage that taken place after her 7-week checkup, because after her 5-week checkup everything was fine, but once she went to her 7-week checkup, the fetus was no longer viable. The pregnancy wasn't going to grow from this point. So she had to get a procedure done, but she had to go to New York first and we'll come back. But that point in New York was when her whole body just shut down. She was bleeding heavily. She was by herself. Ross wasn't there. She had to get a blood transfusion. And just the traumatic experience of it all has caused so much of a brokenness in Sonya. And I'm very sorry that had to happen. And I can understand. Is feeling guilty that this happened to her. And also is feeling guilty that she told her son practically everything about her pregnancy from this point. And Dr. Jackie did tell her, maybe you should stop telling him how you are in your pregnancy at this time. Maybe you should wait until you're further along to tell him, to let him in on what's going on. He's too young, he's too small, and we don't want to hurt his feelings of how far along your pregnancy has been, and we don't want nothing to happen. But she was just going back and forth of how long she can go without telling him what happened. Because Deuce would pray over her stomach, pray for a little girl, pray for a healthy baby sister, and she didn't want to hurt her son's feelings. She would hide it from him, but she couldn't hide it anymore. He broke down crying and she broke down crying. And I know it was not easy, and it wasn't easy for her to explain to her son that I know you wanted mommy to have a baby, but mommy couldn't have this baby. We're going to have to wait till we can have another one. And there is time with healing from a miscarriage, And like I've said in my videos before, she is pregnant with her rainbow baby now. She's glowing. She looks beautiful. She's way further along than she was when we saw her on the show. So I'm very happy, and that's pretty much where her life is headed. She's headed for expanding her family. She's pregnant now, and her family has finally moved out of the home, but they're 10 minutes away, which is totally fine. And I feel like Sonya needs her family more than anything, because this was another time where Ross should have been there for her, and he wasn't. So I hope that Ross will never be there, but considering that was the problem when she had Deuce, and now since having another child, it's still the same term. It's still the same question. Will Ross be around? And the fact that your family, who's not in the home, they're now 10 minutes away, you're going to be calling them every 5 minutes to be there for you because Ross isn't going to be there. I'm sorry to say it like that, but that's the future of it all. Okay? Drew has arrived to the studio to film her confessionals on March 5th, 2023, 5 days after filing for divorce. And she's very broken, she's disheveled, she just wants to get away. Kenya FaceTimed her just to give her some words of encouragement. Sheree was also wrapping up her confessionals and leaving the studio, and she decided to walk into Drew's room to give her some words of encouragement because she went through a public divorce and that it's going to get better. Not only is she going through the divorce, but she just discovered that her father has stopped talking, he stopped eating. Her father has been sick, and her mother has stayed in Chicago to be with him. So it's just a lot on her plate, a lot on her mind. And Sheree can understand what Drew was going through with her father, because Sheree's father recently just passed 2 days before. And it was kind of like, wait, what? Your father passed away 2 days ago? My thing is, how are you still here, Sheree? I mean, my mind was going back and forth just watching Sheree's entire body language. It was kind of like, did Sheree really make this moment about her? But as soon as she said her father passed away 2 days ago, nothing came. She didn't start crying until after. But the fact that she was able to utter the words that her father passed away 2 days ago with a straight face, it's kind of like Sheree is not there. Sheree is emotionally unavailable, or she has an emotional disconnect to what is happening in that very moment. I'm very sorry that happened to her. We didn't know anything about Sheree's father being sick or anything. So the fact that it just rolled off her tongue, it was like shocking, you know? And and I'm just like, damn, that's crazy. I'm so sorry, you know? So Drew is walking to her seat. She's still emotional. She's still crying. Her team is trying to make sure she's good. She can get through this. Ralph was at the studio, I think, the day before. Why is Ralph giving a confessional? We don't care about his side. He's not a housewife. He wishes he was, but he's not a housewife. So is she ready to talk about Ralph? She is. And she pretty much admits she lost her voice in the marriage. She has allowed things that she has allowed things that she should not have allowed while being married to him. She allowed Tampa. She allowed him to have inappropriate relationships with other women. And the producers wanted to know from Ralph what transpired, what was the straw that broke the camel's back that led to I want to file for divorce. While he's talking, he is waiting to hear permission from his lawyer. Could he talk about the argument? He said no. Then why are you here? If you're not going to give details as to what led to you saying I want a divorce, you should not be mic'd up on screen right now. Go away. We'll probably find more about the divorce settings once we see everything transpires online. If you're not going to come out with anything, don't be here. Then leave, okay? Drew, same thing. But she's giving more than what Ralph is. I feel like Ralph doesn't want to put out anything because it could put some inconsistencies into what he thinks happened to what actually happened. So how will her life be without Ralph? She's not sure. It's all so fresh. Did he ever come back to the bedroom after the movie? She said no. Ralph said yes. Who to believe? My intuition says Drew. Then I think around 11, no, 8 o'clock. That's when Minnie put the post about Ty and Drew's alleged affair because they were celebrating Ralph's 40th birthday a week before. Ty was there. I saw the pictures. So it was kind of like Ty was there at the wrap party. You invited Ty to your husband's birthday, and less than a week after that, you filing for divorce. What happened? There's some gaps here. We need to discuss an accurate timeline as to what has occurred in the last few weeks, the last few months, whatever. Okay? And where did she meet Ty? On the set of Candace's movie. Ty is friends with Erica Peoples, her co-star. And she didn't know that the blogs were just posting about the alleged affair left and right. She never seen it come out because she was in the studio doing her confessionals. She didn't have her phone, so she wasn't able to see it all come out. And she said it's such a low reach. That's what she said. And it's just like, you sure it's a low reach? I mean, your body language, you was being a little bit twitchy, nervous. I just want to know, Drew. I just want to know. And she said that the alleged rumor came from Ralph. And I don't know how Ralph could have made that up unless he heard from Mimi. Atlanta is super small. Probably got friends in high places who told him things, and he probably went to the blogs. It's not a secret. I mean, just like how the race to the courthouse, she said that was Ralph's lawyer doing. Ralph's lawyer was putting out that he was going to the courthouse first, but she actually made it an hour before him. And Ralph is trying to put the narrative that the things that he was doing in the relationship wasn't as bad as the things that she was doing. He really wants to paint a narrative that Drew was being unfaithful in the relationship. So it was pretty messy. She broke down and don't know how to handle all of this. And Courtney, oh my God. When it came down to asking Ralph, how do you know Ty? He said Ty and you have a friendship. That's all he can say. Courtney let it all out. That, oh yeah, it wasn't a secret. Ralph told me everything about it. I know that she's seen her in Texas, and there's photos of them together. It wasn't a secret. Ralph also told me that Drew's a good time. She's bisexual. It's not like nobody else knew. Like, she was just going off, like just going off. And apparently, it's a term that they use in divorce called discovery. That there are, information you can put together in order to, use against the other person. And that's what Ralph is going to do. And when Courtney thought that she wasn't on camera, forgot that she was still mic'd, she had a hot mic moment by saying, I even had pictures of them on my phone, but I wasn't going to show that. No. I mean, that's what happens when you guys leave me too long with vodka. Oh my God. You don't know what's going to happen. I'm just like, Courtney, go to hell and shut up. Okay? Then she went even further left to even say, that's why Drew wanted the adoption. Yeah, she was going so hard for that adoption because she wanted her husband to pay all the bills so she could run off to the sunset with her gay lover. Are you for real, Courtney? Why would you say that? That was so low for you to bring up her child and bring up an adoption. How much did Ralph tell you? He told you a lot. What version did he tell you, to be honest? I wanted to smack the fuck out of her. How dare you? It's awfully funny how you got so close and chummy with Ralph in these last few months and you know everything. Every single thing. Like I said, she was on Candy Speak on it and she spoke about the Tampa situation when they first got on the show, and she said that Drew lied and tried to paint it out as it was something more when it wasn't. But who went along with it, Courtney? Ralph. Why will Ralph go along with a lie or go along with a rumor or a storyline that wasn't true? That's been happening ever since they got on this show. Make it make sense. You're constantly trying to say that Drew is the cause of all of this. Drew has been smearing his name. She's doing all of this. And everything that Ralph does has been peachy keen. Everything he's been doing is all good, all dandy, as if you don't see the way he gaslights her. You don't see the way he manipulates her. Are you for real, Courtney? That's why I'm like, Courtney wants to be Courtney is an op. Courtney is a mole. All right. Let me also say this. When it came down to Courtney discovering all this information from Ralph, Ralph told her not to say anything until she got permission. She said it in that exact way on Can't Speak on it. So everything that you heard from Ralph, you kept it in your back pocket until he told you to now say it. And let me also add this. When it came down to discovering that Ralph and Courtney were related, he also told Courtney to get to know Drew, but gave a disclaimer that Drew tends to lie. Watch out for her. How can my husband, who I'm supposed to trust, is going to tell his cousin not to trust me, look at me as a liar, or watch out because I lie? Oh, he was willing to set Drew up for the okie doke for the longest. He wants to play such a nasty narrative of how Drew is so everybody can watch how she is because he doesn't want the same thing on him. Ralph thinks nobody can see how he is. Ralph thinks that nobody knows how awful, how much of a narcissist, asshole, manipulative, egghead of a man he is. Like, he really is taking so much joy and pleasure into just destroying Drew. And Courtney is going right along with it. All for what? What are you getting out of it? Because I said it before. It's giving side chick want to become the main chick. And it's probably giving me, you've already got the dick, but you're still waiting for a full access to it because you can't get it just yet. You're getting little taste of it, and until you do what you're supposed to do so you can prove your loyalty to him, because that's what you do, Courtney. You go through all of these loops, all of these tests to prove that you're down, you know what to do, and that's what you're doing for Ralph. Hence why every interview you've done, you've always trying to paint Ralph as this perfect man. He's a good man, all this and that. Drew is just lost. Drew is just a compulsive liar. She's so confused, all this and that. I can't. I really can't. I don't want Courtney back. Courtney does not deserve to come back. And she needs to just get going. She needs to just go. So that's it. That's all I have. The reunion, I think, is this Sunday or next Sunday. I could be wrong. But y'all, I can't wait. But that's it. That's all I have. Please stay tuned for my next video. And I'm going to see you guys later. Bye.